Yeah, I mean, also with the whole team is just playing a whole game of football. Obviously, we would rather play like we did in the second half and the first half and just finish the full game as Coach Fleck's been preaching to us, playing the 60-minute game. And so just consistently doing our job and executing to the highest of our ability. I think he brings a whole different level of maturity to our defense. Obviously, somebody coming in that's played a lot of football, and just gives us confidence. Have you seen the plays he's made, which is blowing my mind and everybody else on the defense? But along with that, I think something that goes unseen is that maturity and that leadership that he brings as someone vocal in the corner room and as the whole defense.
Pro Football Focus says you guys with double-digit missed tackles in all three Power 4 games. So
Mhm.
you guys are going to cut down on that this weekend. What has to change?
I think our attention to detail. I mean, tackling is something that you just got to focus on and execute. But I think just the attention to making sure we stick to our tackling system and making that a big point of emphasis going throughout the week through practice. Make sure that we're doing tackling drills, even in the team periods and stuff like that. Making sure that we're doing our best technique that we can.
Looking at USC, the film, what impresses you? What stands
I mean, they have explosive athletes all over the field. That's pretty obvious, I think. And their passing game's dynamic. Their running game is dynamic. But I think we're just worried about doing our best job to our best ability and then executing. Hmm. I think there was a big swing just of their execution. USC, I mean, as you saw, they put together a good amount of points in that second half pretty quick, and that's something that they do pretty well. And so just getting into a rhythm and executing their job to perfection almost, and just that gets the ball rolling for them pretty quickly. So it's just our job to do what we can do to limit those explosive plays, limit those big runs, big passes, and just do our technique. Yeah, I think it's just things like eye discipline, staying technically sound in coverage and with your eyes. As a team like that with all kinds of explosive playmakers all over the field, anybody can hurt you at any point in time. So that means that everybody, all 11 on the field, have to be locked into what they're doing. And so we can't have any slip-ups, any misfits, any eye violations in coverage. So it's just a whole level of discipline and technique that has to go up playing people like this.
What challenges is Zachariah Branch, who's probably the best and most explosive slot receiver you guys have seen?
I think it's just limiting what he can do to hurt us. And like I said, that comes down to just eyes and technique and doing what we do in coverage. But it's just doing what we do really well and not letting any lapse in coverage, lapse in eye discipline, let him have an explosive play or beat us on a play.
Anything else for Coleman? What was your guys' reaction when you heard that the Big Ten kind of admitted that they erred in that game?
Yeah, I mean, there's errors on every play. I mean, there's 1,000 plays in that game that we could have done better, that they could have done better. When it comes down to a play like that, there's, like I said, 1,000 other plays that could have gone a different way, calls that could have gone a different way. So we don't dwell on one call, or we just like to look at our overall performance, and we'd obviously like to play better in that game, and then the outcome would have been different. Thank you, guys.
It was lovely. Seeing that big box like stacked up on my locker was like the coolest thing ever. And then actually getting the news that they were gonna send me, I was like, okay, I wonder how many they're gonna send me. And then it turns out to be like 50 boxes. So that's like the coolest thing. And I love Pop Tarts, so shout out Pop Tarts.
So you just spread it around? Or
Yeah, I obviously I took a few for myself, and then there's all the tailors on the team like, oh, let me get the blueberry, let me get the flavor. So I kind of got a little locker set up to where like players can just come and go, kind of and just grab what they want. So got a nice little thing set up for it. It's right now between strawberry and blueberry. I forgot how good blueberry was. I tried the blueberry again for like I don't know, like 2 years or something like that. So strawberry, blueberry probably. I mean, obviously, it's seeing like one of those catches, just how it, obviously goes like viral and like in the media, and seeing like that's just cool things, having people reach out, people seeing comments under the catch and saying like all types of things about, oh, greatest catch I've ever seen, stuff like that. I mean, it's a huge honor. It's humbling knowing that like I put in the work to make plays whenever my team needs me to. So, I mean, it's a humbling experience for sure. Probably how like. Probably how it stuck like to me, and like and like how and sometimes you catch it one-handed and it's like you see like the ball like moving around like a bunch, or it's like bouncing off your chest and back to your hand. I mean, I feel like once it kind of hit the hand, like it maybe moved a little bit, but it just like it kind of like stuck to it, and I kind of reeled it in. So I thought that was pretty an impressive feat. Right. Yeah, their corners, every single one of them, they're extremely lengthy, long arms, go gadget arms. They're extremely long, and they play physical. They know how to use their length well, and their defense got a bunch of studs over there, secondary wise, and in the pass rush and the linebackers. So they're stacked over there.
What was the message from Harbaugh and Fleck to the offense on Sunday?
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
What was the message from Harbaugh and Fleck to the offense on Sunday after rewatching the tape?
Obviously we see where we can be better. I mean, obviously, what I'm saying, we didn't get the result that we wanted. So seeing where we can be different and be better, and seeing the positives that came out of that game on Saturday, and then stacking onto those positives and being able to make those better and the things that weren't so good, and being able to, improve those this week of practice. So.
Do you feel like the biggest thing limiting the offense right now is just self-inflicted wounds, whether it's a penalty, a drop, whatever it may be?
Yeah, it's hard to say what's the biggest thing, but I definitely self-inflicted wounds will hurt any offense, and you see that we do have a few of those self-inflicted wounds on us, and we do try and practice to clean every single one of those up, and I see that as being something that could really help our offense going forward, limiting those. I love going against E-Rob. He's one of those go gadget arm guys too. He got long arms. He's extremely, patient, and he's got great technique, and he's a shocker for real. I mean, he came from a lower level school, but he came out here and he immediately turned eyes, and we knew he was a player. So.
You guys have gotten it going kind of towards the end of half with it being the end of the first half against Iowa and the end of the game, obviously. How do you get it going against USC in the first quarter, kind of jumpstart?
Right, just starting fast, doing what we do great, and executing. Kind of like he said, those self-inflicted wounds, keeping those to a minimum, and just running our offense and doing what we do well. So.
Anything else for Jalen? Pass catchers were top 3 last year in the Big Ten drops, and this year no quarterback has had more passes dropped than Max Brosmer in the Big Ten. So if you guys are going to start limiting those just as a pass-catching core, what has to change?
Just steady working. Simply that. Continue to work on, catching the ball, making the play for our quarterback. So simply that.
Winston to the defensive line after rewatching the Michigan tape?
The main message is we got to be more of an impact. Of course, there were plays that we had a pretty good impact, like Josh Sack, my TFL, or just different plays where we just made an impact. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's not enough. You got to continue to be more of a force at the defensive line. So there were great things that we did that I felt like, and then that Coach Winston felt like. But at the end of the day, we just got to continue to improve as a defensive line so that we can mature and be more of an impact as a defensive line on this team. So, but overall, just continuing to change our best as a defensive line unit.
What have you seen from USC's offensive line on tape?
Well, of course, USC. We're not anything that I really think is crazy. The main thing is just being able to focus on us. It's us versus us at the end of the day. So I mean, me personally, I'm not really focused on anybody else but us as a defensive line unit. not really focused on Ja because honestly, Ja can do that for himself. And when Ja does that for himself, I mean, he's really dangerous in my personal opinion. So, um, truly, if I feel like someone is not performing to the standard, I mean, of course, we're gonna do our best as leaders to address that. And I didn't think Ja was one of those people. I think Ja performed at an outstanding level. So. And of course, if Ja continues to do that, I mean, the sky's not the limit. He can go past that, as I always say. So I mean, just Ja's a great person, and he's one of my best friends. So truly believe that he can continue to do that if he lets himself do that. Ethan is a great addition. Of course, coming out as a transfer and then continuing to be who he is as we continue to train together and play defense together and be a part of the team together. So, I mean, just Ethan, I mean, not only that, I mean, we hang out all the time. Me, him, Ja, and other people as far as the defense goes and then as far as the team goes. So, I mean, just knowing Ethan in general, I mean, knowing what he's capable of, I mean, it's great to always have him on the field. I mean, always love to be around that guy. So. I don't know who said that. I'm not saying that he's rude, but I mean, I've definitely met nice guys like Crawford. Crawford's like one of the most nicest guys that I know. So it's like, nah. I mean, of course, Ethan's polite. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to be respectful and polite? But I mean, in my rankings, I mean, I would not put him in number one. That's crazy. I'm like, I love Ethan. Yeah, nah. I'm like, Ethan's definitely gonna watch this and be like, "Dang, that's crazy, man." I'm like, nah. It'll be if I were to put rankings, it would be like Croft and like the captain for sure, and like polite rankings, and like Chuck Filiaga too. And, like even though he's not on the team, he was definitely like top 3.
To come back home after a week on the road under the lights again, what's that like to get back home? How much looking forward to that?
Oh man, I love playing at home. I mean, especially our environment. But at the end of the day, when it comes to stadiums, I mean, you're just playing in the stadium at the end of the day. I mean, like you put the ball down and you go up against another team. I mean, you're playing football. You're playing what you train for. So truly love our stadium. Love playing when you got the fans roaring and the atmosphere around. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's a football game. I mean, like you come to play and you come to perform. So.
You're playing one of the new teams in the conference this week and next. I mean, is there a curiosity going up against these two teams?
For me, I would say for me, yes. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I just said, I mean, you're playing another team. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, you prepare for whoever you play up against, and then you get to perform on Saturday. So I mean, yes, I mean you do want to play new opponents because I mean, but at the end of the day, whoever's playing us, I mean, we're ready for it.
Anything else for Jalen? In the 6-game Big Ten losing streak, you guys are on the opponent who scored 27 or more points in every game. How do you get back to limiting points to say 20 or less?
Just getting back to what we do best. Continuing to refine the process. Of course, the results is not what we wanted to be. So, I mean, when you look back and peel back the onion, you always think about, like, Tuesday practice, Wednesday practice. What did we do right? What did we do wrong? What can we change? What led up to what happened on Saturday so that we can change that so that it cannot happen again? So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just being better in the process throughout the week so that when we do get to Saturday, that doesn't happen again. And if it does happen again, then we have to do a better job as not only players, but just being able to be better leaders. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we can only do our best. And if our best is not getting it done, then we got to find better ways to do it.
All set? All right. Thanks, JC.
Have a blessed one.
Like after rewatching the Michigan tape.
You know, we have to execute for 60 minutes is the biggest thing. We've gotten a few games now where we're, you know, playing really well in the first half and playing well in the second half and, you know, not fully putting it together. And that's something, you know, that we've been focusing on as a team, playing for 60 minutes together, you know, executing the best of our ability as long as we can. We know we're not going to be perfect, but being able to respond to any adversity that's going to happen in the game and continue to battle and continue to row.
How do you
Can you repeat that question?
How do you look at the opportunity to use tempo when it's not dictated upon you make a comeback, or
Yeah.
2-minute drill, that kind of thing? How do you look at kind of incorporating that?
Yeah, I think it's good to change up the tempo when you can. We're obviously a huddle team. We've shown that, and but being able to change up the tempo and try to dictate the flow of the game to the best of our ability is something that every offense strives to do to make sure that you're controlling the flow of the game and not the other way around. Because sometimes it does get the other way where you feel the other side of the ball is controlling the flow of the game, and that's football. But being able to battle back from that and shift to where you're controlling the flow of the game, that's really big for any offense.
What type of confidence do you take from that second half of this game?
I think the team brings a lot of confidence coming from that game. I think the team feels really good. Obviously, it's a hard, tough battle, a tough loss for us. We felt that we put together a really good second half, but we know that ultimately we didn't do enough in this first half to be able to win that football game, and that's just how it was. But I think we finished in a way that allowed us to take the confidence from how we played in the second half, both sides of the ball, and a way to bring positivity from that and to continue to build. To be able to bring, what you've built upon in the game before to the next week, and that's kind of been our message as a team, as an offense. To pull from what you just did, fix the fixables, but also make sure that you pull the positives too.
Do you feel that the biggest thing holding the offense back from 60 minutes of consistency is just self-inflicted wounds, whether
Yeah.
it's a drop or a penalty?
Yeah, I would say that's probably an accurate statement. That's completely an intentionality thing too, as an offense, making sure that you're 100% intentional with your attention to detail every single play, and it can be difficult for any team. And for us, we noticed that we can be better, whether it's the small little penalties or a contested catchable ball, or me putting the ball in a better spot for my guys to go get it. That's all stuff that we can control. We're going to focus on really hard on what we can control throughout the flow of the game, and the guys are attacking that with as much as they can throughout the week. And I love the process of the guys being able to respond. I think that's a big thing that Coach Fleck talked about is don't change the process, but making sure that you find little bits that you can move around and try to adjust the process, but don't change the process. The guys have attacked that a lot this week.
You guys have scored just 9 points in the first quarters of these first 5 games. Just how do you kind of do what Coach Fleck talks about starting fast?
Yeah, it goes back to being intentional. I think it's a mindset thing. It's taken us the past few games a few drives to get into the rhythm, and ultimately that's we're waiting too long to get into a rhythm, and a rhythm can't exist for us. We have to be able to move from play one, from snap one, and drive one, and we know that. And again, we're going to go back to the drawing board and figure out how we can be more intentional with that, because that's ultimately it's on us to do that. And a lot of the stuff that's holding us back is our own fault as an offense, as a team. And so I think we can build upon that. We know where we can be better, which is good, because if you don't know where you can be better, it can be really difficult to build upon that. But we know where we can build, and that's given us a platform to grow upon.
What stands out to you about USC's defense?
Very athletic. They fly around the ball. They're very well coached. I think what is kind of cool is this is kind of the same tree as what we saw last week with Michigan, with Martindale, and what they do on USC's defense is it's awesome. It's a challenge for any quarterback, any offense, any OC, and it's fun. I think it's always fun going up against a defense that does a lot of stuff and shows you a lot of different looks, because that's what makes football playing is fun. And we have to be really good, again, being intentional, but also making sure our eyes in the right spot the whole game, and executing to the best of our ability, because ultimately we know they're a sound football team on the defense, and if we're not in the right spot, then we won't be in a good position to win. So we're going to really focus on having really good eyes this week, communicating really well, and being in the right spot as best as possible.
USC's got the number 1 third down defense.
Mm-hmm.
What makes their third down package so good?
Yeah, I think they're number one. I would say they're multiple, but also they give the quarterback a lot of different looks, and they can do a lot of stuff to confuse the quarterback. Because ultimately, what makes plays to start off with is the quarterback on third down, and they do a really good job of being in different spots and making everything look the same, which is what any DC would like their defense to do, and I think their defense does a really good job at that. And then to end that piece, they move across the field really fast, and they can make a play on a 4-yard ball right when he's catching it from depth, and that's part of the fast and athletic that I was talking about.
What are the elements that stood out to you most about the defense?
I have no idea how he caught it, to be honest. I've never seen a catch like that in my life. It was pretty cool to actually throw that ball too, because you see the videos on Instagram or social media where you're like, oh, that catch was amazing, but I got to be a part of it, and like to be able to see him make that catch on a ball that was contested with one hand on the opposite hand is absolutely incredible. That shows you the work that he's been putting in with the receivers this year. You can't make that catch if you're not putting the work in before. I'm not saying that he's practicing that catch, but catching all the passes on jugs after practice and being super intentional with catching the ball during practice before and after, that stuff all goes into it. And it shows you kind of where his leadership is at with that receiving group, but also how dynamic a player he is. And ultimately he's gained my trust as a receiver, and I can't wait to see what he does this year.
What's been the message to the offensive line this week after 5 penalties?
Again, the intentionality thing. That's kind of the message of our offense, but I think it goes to the offensive line too. I think Quinn and Tay have done a really good job this week of really building upon that. Again, like I said earlier about knowing where we can grow. That's an area we can grow. And at Michigan, for example, was a huge crowd for, a new crowd for most of us. And learning how to change between cadences and figure out between, how we can adjust motions and the cadence at the same time. That's really difficult up front, especially when you have really talented D-line that you're going against every single snap. And so we can build upon that, and I have full confidence that we're gonna be fine in the long run and get it right because of that leadership in that room. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I would say for sure. For most of us, I think for me personally, this is a really cool experience that I get to do, alongside my family as well. Being able to play quarterback in the Big Ten, but also take a step back and really enjoy the moment. Because you don't really have these opportunities, come by very often, and being able to experience this with my team and my family is an absolute blessing. But then you have to go back to the realization that you are playing football too, and you can take a step back for a few seconds, but make sure that when you come back in, you're in the moment. Because it's really, coming from the FCS to the FBS, I would say the hardest thing for me transitioning to this level was, staying in the moment as best as possible. Because, you grow up watching these games, but you've never actually lived it yet. And so I got to live it, the first few weeks, and I'm still living it now with my team. And being in the moment is a big focus of mine. And so in that case, you step back and, realize it's a blessing to be here, but also know that the job is to win the football game and ultimately compete the best with your team.
You've thrown a lot of passes to a number of different athletes. Just how impressive is it seeing Coy when he gets the ball in his hands?
Pretty cool. I think he, when he returned that punt down to I don't know what yard line that was, but ultimately number one, he couldn't have done that with our punt team not blocking their butts off, but what he did with the ball in his hands, being really dynamic, that that brought a lot of juice to our offense and our team. And I don't know if he realizes yet, but those plays are what energize a team sometimes when you're kind of stuck between, your stalemate a little bit. And Coy in that play energized the team, and that led to a scoring drive for us. And as a freshman, you may not realize it yet, but like those are huge plays that dictate the flow of the game, like I said earlier. And for Coy to be able to do that, I think shows that he can be dynamic with the ball, and it puts the trust in the team and him as a freshman to be able to do that stuff. Yeah, I would say that helps a ton of the pass game, being able to throw the check down and have running backs that are available and open. They're really good at feeling space, and when stuff's not open, the running backs are the last resort, and they're the guys. I was talking to one of our guys earlier, and Minnesota, historically speaking, we've run the ball 30 or 40 times a game, and that's what was even. That was the way that we had done things here, and it's become extremely balanced now, and I don't know what the exact percentage is, but I think Coach Harbaugh and his staff have done an amazing job of making our offense extremely balanced. And so whatever the flow of the game is dictating, whatever the defense is giving us, that's what I think we're going to do a really good job of attacking. And whether that's the run game we have to work on, then it's the run game, and whether it's a pass game, it's a pass game. But I think that the blend of the running backs and the O-line has been very tangible to see the progression, and I'm excited to see how it looks this Saturday.
Max, how have you and Ethan bonded?
Yeah.
Just as FCS guys, transfers coming.
The first guy I looked for actually at the Michigan game was E-Rob, and that's because I went up to him. I was like, when did you think that we were going to play in the stadium? And it's a historical college football stadium, and we got to play in it. Obviously it didn't go our way, but I think that was a moment for us to step back together and realize where we came from. He came from Bucknell, and I was from New Hampshire, and we haven't lived those moments before, and we got to do it together for the first time. And so we talked for a second before the game, and we got to step back, and then realized it was a blessing to be here, and became extremely grateful, and then step back in the moment. And so he's a guy that I talk to on a regular basis throughout the week of, perspective-wise. I think it's good to have perspective, and guys like Jack Henderson and E-Rob are people that I can kind of get to and talk about perspective. So it's been a good time with him.
So, Max.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.